Margery Kraus has spent her life treating every day with purpose and possibility. As a teenager, she was especially close to her Uncle Sammy. He was like an older brother, and Sammy became her hero. When he passed away from cancer at age 21, she was only 14. In that moment, Margery made a quiet promise. If life could be that short, she would live every year as fully as she possibly could. The daughter of Polish immigrants, she grew up in a 3,000-resident New Jersey mining town. After attending tiny Knox College, she transferred to AU. The Washington semester program fostered Margery's confidence and helped Margery realize that the world was larger and more full of possibility than she could have imagined. She started her career as a teacher, then moved to the Close-Up Foundation, where she brought tens of thousands of American youth to experience Washington, D.C. The nation's capital is one of the great international cities, and it was here that Margery developed global ambitions. Her grit, determination, and entrepreneurial mindset helped grow APCO Consulting from a one-woman operation to a global powerhouse, operating in 80 countries. At the center of it all is family and legacy. 3 children, 9 grandchildren, and traditions that keep them close across miles and generations. Making the most of every day has meant building a global company and a joyful family on her own terms, which is why today we proudly honor Margery Kraus in the Kogod Business and Entrepreneurship Hall of Fame.
To introduce our next award recipient, please welcome to the stage Sylvia Burwell.
Well, Margery, I am so excited to have the opportunity to introduce the amazing Margery Kraus, who I've had the opportunity to know for over a quarter of a century at this point. And Dave, thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this, and congratulations to the other inductees who I am privileged to know as well. I couldn't be more pleased that Margery is being inducted this time, and she exemplifies this award. And whether it's the standards and excellence of Dean Marchek and this entire Kogod team in this university, or Bob and Arlene Kolegod, whose life of excellence, purpose, and creativity can be seen from the name on the building to the arts on its walls. And she lives AU's mission and values. Margery leads a life of purpose and excellence that is infused with creativity. The video touches on her incredible professional success that is worldwide, innovative, and has impacted countries, companies, and all the issues of our time. All of this professional success, and she equals it with personal success as a mentor, as a mother, as a grandmother, as a wife, and as a friend. Margery is the full package, from strategy to execution. She creates ideas, approaches, books, grandchildren trips, and a company that was before its time to make those things a reality. Can you actually imagine in the 1980s convincing the law firm Arnold and Porter that they should do more than provide legal services, and that it was a good idea for a woman to create and start this company? Can you imagine in the 1980s starting your own strategy and communications firm as a woman? Can you imagine being a woman-owned and run company that is the trusted partner of leaders across the Middle East? Margery didn't just imagine, she made it a reality. Idea to superb execution extends to her personal life as well. Whether it is the legendary trips that all 9 of those grandchildren have received with she and Steve when they turned 10, from Antarctica to Paris via a volcano problem. Or, in terms of me, at my going away, Margery was the mastermind of a cherished photo memory book from my time at AU. I benefited from Margery's incredible work and impact since I was 16 years old. I'm not sure she knows this part. When I came to DC for a Close-Up Foundation session where Margery was a founding member of the team. Margery says she got the idea from the Washington semester program. The excellence, focus, and thoughtfulness in how she runs her business is also present in Margery as a wife, mother, grandmother, and friend. As a matter of fact, Margery took lessons from being a mother and applied it to her professional life. Her book, which some of you may have read, her book Roots and Wings, talks about the importance of giving children the roots of values, community, family, and confidence, but not being afraid to give them the wings to encourage them to fly. She takes those lessons into her work, and now you can understand why she is an award-winning mentor in her company and in life. The many accolades and awards are complemented by what you hear. I was at a corporate board meeting, and a university president and a Fortune 100 C-suite executive says to me, he was talking about this woman that he worked for, and he was telling me how it was one of the best and most transformative times in his career. And that was because of this person and the way that she ran her company. I wasn't surprised when he said the name Margery Kraus. Margery has always lived a life of purpose. She gets out of bed each morning as an optimist who believes in making the world a better place for those closest to her and for people who are a world away. She first met her husband and partner in her success, I understand, Steve, at a summer camp when they were teenagers. I've heard tale of a swim test that, of course, Margery aced. And then she proceeded to cheer, encourage, and help Steve. Is anyone surprised? Margery's engagement with AU started at a time when the university was having some challenges and where her skills and diplomatic approach to things could make a real difference. Most would have said, I don't have time, I have a business to build, I have a family to raise, but Margery ran into the fire. And she has been contributing to this university ever since. She did not hesitate to take on the leadership of the new WAMU advisory board. She spearheaded the efforts to raise a scholarship in my name when I left. And her personal generosity with Steve in the Margery Kraus Presidential Scholarship will have impact for generations to come. Margery is the friend who has folks over for dinner, who calls you to use her commander's tickets, and who personally helps and mentors everyone. I know about the wonderful grandchildren trip because Margery keeps her family at the center. In all of the concentric circles of Margery Kraus's life, she leads with purpose. Margery's the kind of person you want your children to study and learn from, because if they can do a portion of what Margery has done professionally, and if they can do it with the values, love, and sense of community that she has, they will be as successful as possible. Margery, I'm honored to call you a friend and to introduce you.
I think I should sit down. Sylvia left me very emotional, and she said it all. There's nothing else to say because, getting an award like this is very inspiring and rewarding, but getting it from somebody like Sylvia is especially amazing because of my deep respect for her, her incredible career, and anything she said about me, you could double and say about her. So Sylvia, thank you for that wonderful introduction and for the tremendous friendship that we've developed over the years. Sylvia didn't say this, but I first met, I don't remember the close-ups part of it because I was, there were a lot of students, and anyway, but we had the Gates Foundation as a client in Seattle, and they had this new person who was coming in as the chief operating officer, and her job was to tell me that she wasn't sure that we were going to be continued, and but we got through that, and we survived that. But anyway, so I've always just held this gratitude for her. Anyway, I have a couple of remarks. I'll try to make this fast, but I'm honored, obviously, to be an inductee into the Kogod School of Business Hall of Fame. And I want to express my gratitude and appreciation to President Alger for his comments, and Dean Marchuk and American and Kogot and anyone else who made this possible. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow inductees, a couple of whom I know and have known, but to be in such an esteemed group is always humbling, and this is part of what the AU community is about, these wonderful people. So I've been asked to share a few words about my professional journey. So somebody asked me to summarize 60 years of my life in 3 minutes. So hang on to your seats. I'll try to do the best I can. But I started in a most unlikely way as a first-generation American living in a small mining town in New Jersey. And yes, there were mining towns in New Jersey. People don't believe that. And my school, which you saw a picture of, it looked like a nice school. It was K through 12 in one building. And the elementary school was in the first floor, and the junior high in the basement, and the high school on top. And but one thing that you might not know, and maybe you'll change your mind about the award, but I never finished high school. So my first real diploma in life was right here at American. And before you take a gasp, relax, I eventually got a high school diploma, but not until after I got my master's here. I was given an honorary degree by my school before they closed and became a regional school. On my professional journey, I can say the path to this moment was hardly a straight line. When I first started my career, I was a civics teacher, and just across the river in Northern Virginia. And that's what led me to start the Close-Up Foundation, which has brought over 1 million high school students to Washington, including Sylvia, and set people on a career. And one reason that I did that is I thought civics can't be taught in a box, and you really had to have the experience, which is what I learned at AU and what I learned from the Washington Semester Program. And so we helped all these students find their voice and learn how to be engaged students. And helping students for the first 14 years, I'm still on the board, by the way. They have term limits, but I think I'm now 52 years into my term limit. Helping them on their journey for the first 14 years of my career remains one of the important things that I value in life, because it helped me build a network of trusted friends and advisors, and also appreciate the power of those relationships, which help fuel my next steps. So from this beginning, I never imagined that one day I'd be standing here as the founder of this global enterprise with more than 1,200 people, representing more than 60 nationalities. But the story began with a simple idea that helping clients with their challenges and opportunities could also be a force for good, that you could do both. And not just for shareholders, but for communities, for our country, and for the world at large. And when do we need that more than we need it now? Founding APCO was my way of putting this belief into action. It started with a small consultancy, one person, but it grew into a global enterprise because of a passion for purpose, the ability to take on complex challenges, and taking chances. And I want the students to hear this, and a willingness to innovate. What led me to today was a combination of curiosity, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to making an impact. I also learned the truth of an Eleanor Roosevelt quote I came upon early in APCO's history. I was actually helping my son do his homework. And this quote really came to me when my confidence may not have been what it is today. And the quote was that no one can make you feel inferior without your own consent. So for a child of immigrants and from a town of 3,000 people without a high school diploma, now working with some of the world's smartest people, it was a revelation that stuck with me throughout my career. And it became a voice in the back of my head whenever I really doubted myself. But that doesn't mean it was easy. Along the way, there were unexpected challenges and even some failures. But I chose to use those experiences, good or bad, as a lesson and a step forward. And through it all, I learned that success is rarely about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions. It's about surrounding yourself with people who share your values and inspire you, and being willing to learn from your mistakes and adapt and grow. But most of all, it's about building trusted relationships that last a lifetime. So, if I find my place. So I wanted to building a business is especially one that spans countries and cultures, taught me that success rarely happens in a vacuum. It's the result of diverse perspectives, shared goals, and trust, all united by common culture. Another key lesson for me was to embrace change. The world is constantly evolving. I'm now 41 years into my business, and it's still vibrant. And staying relevant means being willing to adapt, to change yourself, and to take risks. I often tell people that the fear of failure is not the enemy. It's the fear of standing still. Growth requires stepping outside your comfort zone, and sometimes it means failing forward. It also means you have to pick moonshots and innovate for the company to move forward. But probably the best lesson I learned, especially as a woman who wasn't often taken seriously with my big, audacious ideas, was to never underestimate the power of being underestimated. Think about it. Never underestimate the power of being underestimated. So for the students in the room, I really want to leave you with something. My advice is very simple. Use every opportunity you have. You never know where it will lead. Treasure the relationships you make along the way. The people you meet and the mentors you find and the teams you build will be the foundation of your success. Invest in those connections and don't be afraid to lean on them for guidance. Next, I'd encourage you to lead with purpose. Define what drives you, your why, and let that guide your decisions. It's easy to chase titles, accolades, or profits, but true fulfillment comes from knowing you're making meaningful impact. And don't be afraid to dream big. When I started APCO, few people thought a woman could lead this consultancy or would ever lead it to the place where it is now. But I was fortunate to have teammates, some of whom are here, who believed in me, and a family who encouraged me to break through barriers. And I want to pass on that encouragement to you. The world needs leaders who are bold enough to imagine new possibilities and persistent enough to see them through. Now, also, before I finish, I want to say a word about family. And I know Sylvia went into that quite a bit. And I'm going to embarrass some people. Because it isn't enough to seek work-life balance. I don't even believe that exists. It's about seeking work-life integration and gaining perspective and encouragement from family that can fuel and enrich your success. So I'm going to ask my husband of 60 years, Steve, my daughter, Mara, who's representing our 3 children, and 2 of my 9 unbelievably fantastic grandchildren who bring me more joy than anybody can imagine. So Brennan and Ian. You can stand up, guys. No. Believe me, they're not modest, so it's not from that. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the pivotal role that American University has played in my journey. The values instilled by this incredible institution for service, leadership, and commitment to excellence have stayed with me throughout my career. What I learned here was to think critically, to embrace innovation, to approach challenges with a global perspective, or I always say glocal perspective. These lessons have been invaluable as I've navigated the complexities of building and leading an international organization. I'm forever grateful to be part of this extraordinary institution, and it's an honor to have AU as my first diploma in life, even before I got my high school diploma. So I want to thank you again for the tremendous honor, and to everyone in the AU family, thank you for giving me the foundation to build a career I'm proud of, and for reminding me that the best way to honor success is to play it forward. So thank you.